All right, you're back and back in the paint room. Tonight, we're having a special party. Today's episode is A Guy, a Girl, and a Movie, episode 6. We're going to talk about a movie from 2005. Janet picked this one and she loves this movie. This is called The Great Raid with persons to follow. You have Benjamin Bratt, James Franco, Robert Mamone, Max Martini, James Carpinello, and, of course, I lose her name, Connie.
Joseph Phineas.
Yes, Joseph Phineas, Craig McLaughlin, Scott McLean, Dale Dye is in this movie. He's a very popular figure in 1990s and
Yeah,
2000s war films.
too.
Who?
He was a real Marine, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Anyway, we're going to talk about this movie called The Great Raid. And for those of you that have never seen it before, I think you probably should. It is a solid war film. And when I say a solid war film, I'd rate it probably about, I'd say it's worth another watch. Okay. Now, this came out in 2005. And about the turn of the century, if you remember right, we had just come off of the amazing high of Saving Private Ryan, and not a lot of people saw The Thin Red Line, which was good. It was good. Not many people saw it because they would have been upset. And then you had some other films come out. Then the War on Terror started in 2001. Not by us. Somebody else started that on
Mhm.
us. But we had a movie come out very kind of accelerated. They accelerated schedule a bit because they had already finished the primary shooting, and so you have the Mogadishu attack that we did in October of '93 in 2000, and of course I forget that movie's name more often. Black Hawk Down. Okay, so we have that movie in early 2001, no, late 2001, like November of that year. And there was a bunch of other movies. That was 2002, I think, when that one came out. But there was a bunch of other movies that come out kind of on that high, kind of like getting America in a fighting spirit again, like what they did with us in 2000 or in the 1940s. That's a big variance from 2000s to the 1940s. Anyway, so we had this war effort back in the early 2000s to kind of get us more patriotic, mindful uh, mindset for us at home. And we had We Are Soldiers, and that was what 2003 when that came out. And then finally, a couple of years later, we had this movie, The Great Raid.
Mm-hmm.
I like this movie. I like this movie a lot. I saw it in the theater with my father. And Janet, I believe you saw this in the theaters with your family too, correct?
Yep.
What was your first impression on it?
Well, I kind of didn't want to go see it to begin with because I don't really like war movies. Like I said, it makes me, especially when they're based on true events or whatever, um, and because they're sad. So I don't want to watch sad movies. Even when they say, "Oh, it has a good ending" or whatever, I don't want to see people, get hurt, stuff like that. It's not the same thing as no a car chase and someone shooting from a gun or whatever through cars like Fast and Furious and stuff, because I know it's not real. But when it's based on a real events, even if it's a fake war movie, it's not really based on a real thing that happened. The fact that it's a war movie still isn't what I want to watch, because I know that kind of stuff really happens to real people. It's not just kids playing in a fast car or whatever. So I have a hard time doing that. But when we went, um, I was, not really looking forward to it. But as it started and I started listening, like with the voiceover at the beginning, I realized it wasn't really a just a war movie. It was based on the whole thing was set up to free our POWs. So once I saw that, then I was real excited about watching it, because I didn't know that we even did anything like this. You know, it was never, I never learned anything about us doing a special thing to save our POWs. I always thought I had to trade for them, or, you know, something like that. I never understood that we could go in and save. So this was my first experience with that, and that's why I think.
Well, I think one of the main reasons I'm gonna say something. I think the reason why you probably think this was probably something new is because back in the '80s we had a bunch of people in Hollywood, and I won't say Hollywood, I'll say Canon Films and affiliated B movie producers put out a bunch of movies that probably are fun to watch but are not so accurate. Movies like Missing in Action 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Movies that are like Rambo Part 2. I mean, they're fun. They're great popcorn films. But we never sent Chuck Norris to Vietnam. And if we did, it might have turned out a lot different. And I hate to sound so pitifully optimistic about that. I know there's a lot of friends that have family that went to Vietnam, but if we had somebody like Chesty Puller quality that would have been in charge of Vietnam without the politicians, it would have been over and done. But that was the start of the new mindset where we could have wars orchestrated from Washington, and you didn't really have the power in the general's hands. And the Korean War was kind of the start of that, but MacArthur wanted to chase he wanted to chase people around, and he ran into a wall of Chinamen. He wanted to get rid of North Korea, and he ran right into a bunch of China people. So it would it would be interesting, but we never had that moment in Vietnam where we had like a hoorah, like happy ending. The last thing that happened in Vietnam was the helicopters leaving out of Hanoi,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very disheartening to say that. It's worse to see it repeated in Afghanistan in August of last year. But we have this mindset where we do wars from DC now. We don't have wars that are orchestrated and taken care of from close to the battlefield. And it makes me furious. But this movie took a real event. This movie took a real event, and it gave it good celluloid life, because there's two books that this was based on. What is the name of this camp? The Great, or what was it?
Great Raid.
Yeah, the Great, no, the Great Raid. The book, the
The
raid on Captain John.
Ghost Soldiers, I think.
Ghost
That,
Soldiers was one, and then the other
yeah,
one is
thought
the
it was,
Great Raid on Cabanatuan.
yeah, Cabanatuan. Mm-hmm.
So you have these two books that Carlo Bernard mishmashed, and he just kind of smushed them together. And you have kind of three main areas where the movie takes place. You have it take place at the actual POW camp.
Mm-hmm.
You have another leg of it take place in the Philippines. And then you have another portion of it kind of happening not too far away, where they were training, or Benjamin Bratt was training his crew.
Yes, Rangers.
Yeah, that was like the first actual use of the Army Rangers, if I remember right.
Yeah, that's what he said. And they were a crackpot group of farmers, mechanics, and just down home, country boys, basically from small town, that they threw together and trained.
we have this really interesting setup for this movie, and it's 1945, shortly before the end of the actual war itself. I don't know.
They said they were in prison for 3 years.
Yeah,
Sat there
but
long after they did the march, the death march, baton death march. To get them,
it was not too long after the Bataan Death March where that happened.
yeah. Because it also in the in during the movie, the one Japanese officer said that they had sent a bunch of the healthier people actually sent them to Japan for treatment or whatever. So I don't know if that's true or not, or if that was just a lie or whatever. But so most of them were sickly and crippled and things like that.
I love how they portray the Japanese in this movie. They do a very honorable job of showing them for being the ferocious fighters they are.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I like the fact that they actually gave credit in the movie to the guerrillas, the Philippine guerrillas that helped fight them, that had been fighting the whole time to try
They've been
to,
fighting for 3 years.
yeah, to help free their people, because their people were also taken over by the Japanese when they took over the Philippines. Manila, Luzon, the other cities in there. And people were basically slaves, having to do when and where they could go and what they could. So that was kind of sad, but it was nice to see that aspect of it in 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 the movie being told in the story. At least I thought it was.
See, the part about it that I found amazing was actually how they recreated Philippines in 1945. I thought that looked really authentic. It might not have been authentic. It might have just been a soundstage, but I thought they got really close to the photographs I've seen, because I've seen a lot of photos of PI through the years from World War II to about 1991. I've got
Mm-hmm.
a lot of Filipino friends over here. I've got a lot of guys I know that their dads married Filipinos, and therefore they're half and halves. They're the American Heinz 57 and military families. Because one thing we did when we helped out the Philippines was we told them, if you guys want to fight for us, we'll give you American citizenship. So you have a lot of Filipino people in the United States military, Navy, Army, Corps. I've not met a whole lot of them from the Air Force, but I'm sure they're there
Yeah,
because we used to have an extensive presence there.
yeah, because they only had to really have authentic clothing and things basically for the regular public like me, because military uniforms, they were all dirty and dingy and stuff basically on the POWs. But the other uniforms just look like army uniforms to me. Like that's not all that, all that intuitive about that, but the clothing the women were wearing and then the hospital scenes and stuff and the hairstyles definitely made me think it was in the 1940s. The shoes, I know I'm a woman, so I noticed her shoes, the women's shoes, the cloggy size, the big size heels, on the shoes, and those straps around the ankles and things. They definitely looked authentic to the 40s to me. Now, I may have been wrong, but definitely the hairstyles and stuff, I thought they did a very good job making the people that were in the city and on the bus and walking the streets and stuff dressed authentically to fit the time that supposedly this was supposed to take place in. But the scenes in the POW camp and everything, I mean, they looked hot, sweaty, dirty. Their clothing looks like, even though they button their shirts and they try to stand up straight and be presentable when they were confronted or whatever, they seemed authentic to me for what their clothes would look like after 3 years of being in a camp. To
And
me.
I gotta say that we're gonna have spoilers in this movie review. We're going to talk about a movie from 2005. It's been 17 years since it was released. So if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to know much about it, you may want to shut this off and go rent it from Amazon or like what I did on YouTube. As much as YouTube is screwing up and their idea of free speech versus this information network really doesn't jive with me too well, but I'd rather give YouTube the money because they're at least not screwing up the Tolkien stories. Anyway,
I watched it for free on an app.
on what?
On an app that I had on my iPad. I can't remember the name of it. I'm trying to find it on my phone. It was a free app, but it has commercials.
Okay.
It's as soon as I find it, I will let you know. But I can't look at my iPad because I'm
I
on
think
it.
it's on Tubi. I think it's on Tubi. I'm not certain.
I can't remember the name of it right this second. So
I'm pulling it up right now.
if
you want to watch this movie, it's on Pluto TV.
Yeah, Pluto. That was it. I watched it on Pluto TV for free, but I have the actual movie on DVD. So already, but I was wanting to watch it while I was working on my stuff. So, and I was taking notes, and I wanted to be able to pause it really easily and all that stuff, and then rewind it. And you can just push that 15-second button. It makes it a lot easier. So that's how I watched it. But I thought it was definitely worth it. It's way better without commercials, but for what I was doing with it, it was perfect.
Yeah, I used to have this DVD. I just don't know where that DVD is. I don't know. If you move a couple, 3, 4 times in your life, things like that happen. You just you give up having a nice couch. You give up having a nice recliner. You're like, the moment I start buying furniture again, I'm going to move.
You have pets or children. Just the way it is. But that's okay.
But
it
sounds go ahead.
No, I said comfortable. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
So I really enjoyed watching it for the aspects where I always look at set design, and I'm not involved with any sort of movie making like Janet is. I don't have a resume involved with that, but I always look at the sets. I always look at how the lighting is. Like, don't ever watch the Phantom Menace with me, ever. Don't just don't. You will hear me cuss and scream because that movie is so poorly done, and the editor did not go through on the first few DVD releases and fix the lighting or editing, anything of that. There's you can watch people's eyes in the Phantom Menace, and Liam Neeson is the tallest person on set, so all the walls for that movie are built for his specific height. But his eyes, just watch his eyes as he's doing stuff, and you'll understand what I'm saying, because he's looking around on set and he's having a hard time pretending he's a Jedi Master because he's just in a big green room.
Yeah, it is hard. It's usually just little X's in different colors taped to the green background, and you're supposed to think that X is this and this X is that, and up here is the eyes of the X, or different things like that. So it is hard to do that. I mean, to focus on something being there when it's not. But
I focused on like because the Philippine set I was most interested in on this watch, because there was really no action in the Philippines, so they had to treat it right the whole time. They couldn't be putting holes in it. They couldn't be blowing parts of it apart. No, it's the Philippines. This is where the majority of just the soldiers walk around and threaten people. There's no discharges of guns until the courtyard scene where you're like, oh my God, these Japanese people are just something else, you know?
Well, the scenes inside of the Catholic Church,
Oh yeah, that was rough.
that was really really authentic, looking for the church, and the way the Father dressed, because it looked older compared to what a newer priest wear today. So different things like that to me were very very and the weapons too, the handguns that the Japanese were carrying, things like that all looked authentic to me. Now I might be wrong because I'm not a specialist on weapons, but the shape of the barrels of the weapons, the handle on the pistol, things like that, I mean, I was just sucked in. I was sucked in. I actually felt like I was in the middle of the different things that were going on. And I just felt enveloped by it because it was so, the authenticness of it to me was really, really, really good. But I just thought the whole reason behind it, the young man that they brought in because of his skills on being able to write things up, um, different battle plans and things like that, and that part that James Franco had for the character. It made me, after I watched it, it made me want to watch a documentary with interviews with the actual men that were involved in setting up the raid, and then maybe some of the interviews with the actual POWs that were involved, like the youngest one that was helping out by, I can't remember what his name is right this second. The young actor that was the one transcribing the telegrams and things like that and giving it to his major and his captain or whatever, the two higher ranking officers on the camp and things like that. So it would have been really neat. There probably is some interviews with these people, and I would really like to look into that. I haven't had time because I just finished watching this yesterday, but I just thought that would be very interesting because the whole story around it. I never looked at, when I watched, every time I've watched any of these movies, I've never looked at it as a person trying to break it down and talk about the different parts of the movie. This is very new for me. I've never done this. And it's very exciting to me, is to be able to look at it and be and analyze it instead of just being a consumer, getting to watch it and consume it, and just like it for that part of the entertainment part of it. Now getting to watch it and break it down into sections, basically about the different aspects of what came out, what I liked, what I didn't like, things like that. Is this giving me a whole new perspective on the movie making part of it? It's just and seeing something come to life in front of me that was once on a piece of paper, which is, to me, is a very, very interesting. I like it.
I could probably dissect more of it if I hadn't seen it a lot in the last like 10 years. But this is one of my movies that I think I know who borrowed my DVD, because it was one of those films that whenever it was on like cable, he would just flip over to watch the rest of the movie. He loved Act 2 and 3 of this film.
Mm-hmm.
And Victor thought this movie was about as perfect as it could get, even though it took a lot of liberties with Connie Nielsen,
Mm-hmm.
because she was based off of a real character, but she did not have like a love interest in the major that was suffering from, I think it was TB, wasn't it?
No, he had malaria.
Malaria, my bad.
Malaria. Yeah, a lot of people died from malaria during that time.
That's the majority of the deaths that happen in the
No,
camps.
well, I figured that, the love aspect and her having his picture in his Bible and all that stuff, but you had to have some kind of something added to it, to intrigue, to make him, like the scene where both the men are laying out on the ground after they got the food and everything when
Mhm.
they left the camp, and they were eating all that food and stuff, and he was talking about getting to see Margaret wearing a see-through night negligee and all this kind of stuff. I like that aspect, because what is all these men that are trapped there, as prisoners, what are they supposed to be thinking about? Like when he was drinking out of the can of peaches and he says it tastes like I'm sucking on Rita Hayworth's tits.
Yes.
I thought that was, it gave me goosebumps almost, because you don't think about what it must be like to be stranded or trapped somewhere like an animal in a cage, except for a person that's been a prisoner before, either in prison here in America or in another country. But being in prison and being the solitude of it, not being able to hold the person you love in your arms, to smell their hair or their skin, to touch them on your, to feel their skin on your fingertips, all those things that they didn't have. And on top of that, they're starved, they're sickly, they're made to work against their will, all these horrible things that are happening to them. So if they can close their eyes even for a few hours every night and dream about something that they might have one day again, and have hope, each morning, thinking that it's just one more day and maybe I will get to be with the person I care about, or get to one day be with somebody I care about. That whole area of that part of the movie was just, to me, it sucked me right in. I felt for these men. And I was bawling my eyes out in the opening scene where they're making those men go down in those air raid shelters, and knowing that they're taking that gasoline over there to make them, to burn them alive, because it was cheaper to burn them alive than it was to shoot them, with the bullets. So they only shot the few that would come up trying to get out, because they were all burning to death. I was bawling my eyes out, because I know that was real. I know that happened to people in war, and it was horrible. I mean, it just was horrible to think about it, and to know that somebody I cared about died that way would just be, I don't know if I could live with it. I mean, I really don't. But to know that their friends and other people they cared about that were put in a different camp, not the camp they were in, were murdered that way, it's just, I don't know. It's just amazing that
Awful.
people were saying when they got them home. So it's sad to me.
Shadzar's got some relevant points there in the chat. I was just reading them to myself.
Yeah, I'm trying to read. I'm not very good at reading and talking at the same.
Well,
Sorry, guys.
Shadow and Son is probably going to bail on us, but that's understandable. He's got a project where him and his son are doing nothing but Sinbad and Arabian Nights style material for the next couple weeks, because he's doing that for the month of May.
Okay, well, you guys have a nice evening. Thank you for stopping by.
If you guys stick around a bit, that's great. But if you have to go, we understand.
But appreciate you coming by for just even for a little bit. But yeah, I'm trying to read what he said, what Shadazar said.
Then Travis said, talking to the survivors is always the best way to get the real story. I talked to a few of the men from the Band of Brothers. They were very involved with that show. Yeah, HBO really spent some good money to make an authentic documentary about the Easy Company. And then they did another one on the Pacific War, which I thought was great. But I haven't seen that for years. And it wouldn't be hard for me to. I could just download the HBO app and off I go. But I only have 24 hours in the day.
Yeah.
And I really like my time to paint. Taking 4 hours out of a week for me to paint or me to watch movies is okay. That's the limit. You get 4 hours of pop culture, Bruce. Okay. I'm not going to watch any Star Wars or anything that I used to love, because it just breaks my heart now to watch it. But I'll watch these other things. Force of Light Entertainment today put out a teaser trailer reaction to the new Predator movie that is coming out.
Oh, the new movie come out for Predator?
Yeah, and it looks like it's a prequel, because I want to say it's taking place in pre-colonial America.
I've
Go ahead.
I've already decided what new movie I'm going to pick for you after next week.
Okay.
I've been thinking about it. No, it's a movie I haven't seen in a very long time, and I really want to watch it again. So I'm like, I think I'm gonna make him watch it.
Oh, thanks.
Excited.
But yeah, I don't find a lot of joy in this new Predator film because it looks like a 90-minute movie of Stunning and Brave again. So I'm just going to pass it. But
Yeah,
the Great Raid on the Stunning and Brave Avenue, the Great Raid does a fantastic job of showcasing everybody involved on both sides. And it shows you how effective the Japanese were. It really does, because you get a healthy hatred for them.
yeah. The two actors. Wait, I wrote their name down. Hold on. It was Motiki Kobashi and Cesar Mantanio, and that wasn't he the guy that was married to that real pretty blonde that's on some TV talk show? The one that they were teasing about the prayer card that his mother gave him, and they were teasing each other. He was one of those. I think that's the second name I read, Cesar Montanio or whatever. Is that him?
I think so.
Okay. Well, the other guy was Motiki Kabashi. He was the actor that played the one at the actual camp. I think that was the actor. But they had to be good actors too for them to be believable. And I thought they did a really good job, especially the part where the one prisoner escaped and they captured him, and they told him that if they tried to escape, they would kill 10 people. They would shoot 10 other people when they killed him. That whole scene, oh my God. I bawled my eyes out for that. And the actor did such a good job just standing there and just being so stern. I mean, you know what I mean? It was very believable. And it's heartbreaking, but he's a really good actor to be able to do that, I thought.
Major Nagai was his name.
Major Nagai?
Major Nagai was his
what was
name.
The other name? The one that was investigating or doing the woman.
Oh, hold on.
That's the one I think I wrote down. So I wrote down it was Mokiki Kabashi or whatever. Is that how you say his name?
Kobayashi. Kobayashi.
Yeah. Okay.
He was Major Nagai.
Okay. The scene where they had the what was her name again? Connie Nielsen's character in there, and he's standing behind her, and he's rubbing down her shoulders, then down to her hands, and then he makes her lay her hands flat with her thumbs out, and then he rubs her back up, and she's shaking. How she was able to shake her whole body like that in her jaw while he was talking to her. That was a very intense scene for me. I mean, not knowing what was going to happen to her, you know what I mean, the whole time, and to not break. And then when she was in the at the Catholic church, and she wakes up, and the priest is putting cold water on her face, and she starts crying, saying that they were all dead. All those people that were at the meeting earlier were dead. And he goes, he knew. And she said that she didn't know. She had been conscious a few times and doesn't know. He told them. And then he told her that not to worry about it. They had caught him the night before. So that, that it wasn't her that gave him away. Now, whether or not that's true or not, we don't know. We just know that the pastor was trying, or the priest was trying to keep her calm and not to blame herself for what happened to her friends. Now, see, part of that some of that details of that, all that happened to her could be real, but I don't think it has anything to do with her boyfriend, lover, you know what I mean?
Correct.
She just wanted to.
She was part of the help. She was part of the aid process.
She was the one that was helping smuggling the drugs and stuff to try to save as many as they could until they could get them out, until the war could be over and they would, transfer the prisoners to them. So she was just trying to do that. But the fact that it was a strong woman character, even back then in 2005, which you would think that nobody has any strong women in any movies before now, is funny because that was a very good, strong character for a woman in a movie, which proves that, they did have good people with them. And she was so, I forget how beautiful the actress that played her character.
I'm a fan of Connie Nielsen.
And she was very good.
Yeah, she got it in Braveheart when she was in or not Braveheart, but Gladiator.
Yeah, Gladiator. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was her. Yeah, she did really good in that too.
She's also in another movie that I love called Soldier.
Was that Kurt Russell?
Yes.
Oh, that was a good movie too. I remember that. But I always liked Kurt Russell. I always thought Kurt Russell was a very good actor. But one of my favorite long movie was I wrote it down right here. Let's see. Yeah, here's my favorite line in the movie that to me that stood out, that I remembered it later on, was this scene where Benjamin Bratt says, "I'm not talking about publicity, Bob. I'm talking about the kind of glory that you carry inside you for the rest of your life, knowing you did something worth remembering, something that makes a difference." I'll never forget that, because that to me was the whole purpose of why they were doing what they were going to do, to save those POWs and get them out and try to get them all out alive and not have any of them die from the raid. And as far as I could tell, I haven't read the book, that they did. The only ones that did die, the prisoners, were the ones that were sick already. Do you know of anything different about that?
I didn't see anything. The ones that perished were the ones that had primarily gotten malaria and they did not get any medical aid that was sent towards them.
Yeah, and that one scene where they get in, they pick the lock and get in the back room, the storeroom, and they see all those boxes from the Red Cross. Oh, I remember how pissed off I was the first time I saw that. I was like, I can't believe they do something like that. And my mom elbowed me and said, "It's a war." So she was telling me that that's what people do in war. People are not fair. I mean, war. They're going to do whatever they can to try to get the information they need. Starving people is one of them. So that one line, that one conversation with, and then when he said, bring the gorilla guy or whatever his name was to bring him over, he's ready to eat some humble pie, when he was going to ask them to help him by taking care of that bridge to keep the other guys from coming across the bridge while they're doing the raid. I thought that was a good scene too. But my favorite scene in the movie, actual scene, not just the line from it, I'm trying to remember, I don't know what, it was closer towards the end, when they were almost finished with the raid, when they found out that some of them were coming across the river, and they went over to the river, and then the colonel, is his name, was he a colonel, the Benjamin Bratt character?
I believe so.
Okay, when he said, wait a minute, boys, let me light them up," and shoots that flare up in the air.
Lieutenant Colonel.
Lights up, and it's like a hitting fish in a fishbowl, and then bam, 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 and the guns start going off, and they get rid of all those guys coming across the water. I thought that I was cheering at that part, because I thought that was so good to be able to use the technology they had in the 1940s to be able to to be able to save more lives by getting rid of these people before they had a chance to take somebody else out. I was rooting for him. I thought it was a really good scene. What did you think about that scene?
I thought it was very well done. I thought the entire movement aspect of it, while they're trying to crawl under the trestle, to get while they're trying to move around the Japanese movement at the time, I thought it was orchestrated pretty well. Good choreography, good stunt work. Um, the fight and the knockout scene was kind of iffy, but I'm not going to get too rough on it because those guys are actors, not brawlers. They're not professional fighters. You know what I mean? They aren't stuntmen.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just thought the the darkness part, and it wasn't so dark you couldn't see what was going on, but the tenseness of it, like when they had to be real quiet and be still because one of the guards or one of the soldiers had come over there and was looking around or whatever, and they're holding that one guy, and all you're waiting is for a twig to crack or something like that. So there was a lot of tense areas to me in the movie, and you got your hands in your fists, and you're trying to quiet and not breathe almost, so that you can make sure that they can get away and not get captured because their numbers were way more than them, and that you knew that most of them were probably going to die, if not all of them.
I
So
I, I thought that is a tense scene for this movie, but the more tense part of it was when they lined up all the people in Manila and the Japanese
yeah.
and picking out who's going to die today.
Yeah, I remember that now that just thinking about it. But yeah, when the girl was pointing out the people and they were all like, you could see the look on their face, oh, please don't pick me, please don't pick me. Yeah. And then they take him over to the thing and just shot him in the head. Yeah, that was, but the scene where he was shooting the people in the back of the head or in the back of the neck, right in their spine. Oh, I was bawling my eyes out the whole time. It was just so sad. I know if I had been a prisoner and I had been there as me, it's you know, me personally, I ended up, I would have had a nervous breakdown or I would have committed suicide or something. I just do not think that I could have dealt with that to seeing that happen to people that I knew for years being trapped with them. It was just the whole scene was just it was so sad and it was so tense. And I was so angry at him for trying to escape, but I also felt sorry for him because I understood why he wanted to escape so
Yeah,
bad. And I was very torn up from that scene because it was so believable and so realistic. I'm just thinking about it right now. I'm getting choked up thinking about it because it was so intense and it was so sad. But I would still watch the movie again. I know it sounds terrible. If I could get somebody I knew had not seen this movie and they were a history buff or they were someone who's into war movies or whatever, I would definitely want to watch the movie with them because to see someone else get to watch it that hadn't seen it before, I just think would be very, it would make me feel really good to get to be with them and go through this experience with them, you know, one on one. Be really cool. But I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get that because this movie, was what 2005 when it came out. So
yeah,
they're young today. But I really wish young people would uh, try to watch some of these older movies because I mean, if they did watch some of these older movies and saw how good they were made back then without CGI and everything, that you had to actually act and you had to build props and you had to do scenes and all this sort of stuff, they would be impressed, I think, if they actually cared and wanted to watch some good movies, older movies or whatever. But it might ruin them for the future where they're like, these movies suck or something. I mean, I don't know. But it would be interesting to find out if we could do some interviews with some younger people and get them to watch old movies and then watch some of the newer stuff and see how they compare with each other. Now I'm going to try to read some chat now because we're way behind on that.
yeah
Go back.
we are.
Okay. So Oh, we got a spammer again?
I got rid of it.
Okay, because I said I just saw that you had this subscribers only for 20 minutes. So that, and I just remember you doing it that one time because of the spam or something.
Okay.
But hey, at least now I'm learning how to read the chat. I haven't been able to do it before. So at least I'm learning something. So I'm trying to understand what people are saying. Grumpy old ninja.
Grumpy Old Ninja Kentaro.
Yeah, he's saying hello to people.
Yeah, I love having him as a mod. Him and Shadzar do a really good job together.
Edzar said Grumpy comes in after the porn. I see the naughty bots are out and about this evening. Oh, it's funny. I wish I could have read it when it was happening. Sorry, guys. Oh.
Fine, it's fine. Oof.
I wonder if Shadow and Son has, if they watched this movie, if he's watched it with his son yet, this movie or not.
He might have.
Because from the few of the videos I've watched, it seems like he does a lot of things with his son. Watching good movies is always a good thing to do. He said something about not the bot not being able to see if I was here, so I don't know what that means.
Yeah, they don't really care who's here. They just spam. That's all they do. Spam, 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 spam. I think I have our movie for next week.
Because someone said, "Are you kidding? It's probably here because of Janet." So I don't understand what that means.
You bring them in. That's one thing I'll say.
Oh. The movie was too clean. War is very dirty. I didn't think that they looked clean. Prisoners of and their barracks didn't. I mean, they just had like mats that were dirty looking and stuff, and it just looked dirty in there to me. It was all dirty. Everything was covered with dirt.
Okay, the movie that I found online where I could have have you watch it, but next week's movie is The Sorcerer with Roy Schneider. It's one of my favorite films.
I love Roy Schneider movies.
It's from 1977, so not a lot of people. There's one movie from that era that everybody knows, and nobody knows anything else from 1977. It's an interesting year. The Sorcerer.
Okay. I haven't seen it before.
You've not seen it before? Okay.
But I saw a movie with him, and it was he worked on Broadway or something, and it was really really weird. He was like into drugs or something.
All That Jazz?
Is that what it was called? All That Jazz?
I believe so.
Yeah, a movie my mom really liked, and I watched. I think it was on VHS with my mom. I got to watch Cabaret with Liza Minnelli and Joel Grey. That movie, was it called Cabaret?
Yes.
Oh, I loved that movie. So the music and everything, it was just, I love that stuff. I love musicals if they're good. I mean, I don't like some of the new stuff that's come out. I like the one with the Hugh Jackman, Greatest Showman. I thought that was really good, and I thought Grease was a very well made musical. But there's not a lot, there's not a lot of them that I really like. I even watched that movie, Paint Your Wagon with Clint Eastwood. It was a musical.
Yes.
My mom wanted me to watch it, and I loved it. I thought it was so good. I mean, it was a wonderful movie, and the singing and everything really good. I mean, I was shocked to see that Clint Eastwood could sing, but what was it? Lee Marvin was in it, and
Yes.
he bought a woman or whatever. I don't remember every detail about it. I need to watch it again if I one of these days. But it was a really good movie. My mom really liked it. My mom loved movies. She loved movies. She loved going to the movies. Oh, and I wrote a couple rants after I got really upset when I went to Rotten Tomatoes and saw the rating and stuff it gave this movie, and I was really I kind of think I don't like Rotten Tomatoes as much as I used to like them because I thought they were really good, but I don't like them now.
Fair enough.
Oh, he just said something about that movie, so he must have seen it. Shadzar, he said, "There's a at Wells pressing a baby to her breast." I remember that. Remember that line. And he goes, whatever the last bid was, I'll double it. And then he passed out.
Yeah.
That one scene, it was really good. I just remember the funny stuff. Funny stuff like that.
About all that jazz, right?
No, I'm talking about Paint Your Wagon.
Oh, Paint Your Wagon. Okay.
Yeah. When they were partners, on their mine that they were the gold mine they were digging in, and they ended up both having the same woman. They were partners. I thought it was very good too. But this movie, I remember I wrote down some stuff because I was really upset when I went to the website and looked at what they were saying about this movie. When I saw that it only had a 38%, and the reason I went to look was because I asked my sister to watch it to see if any of them could come and be in the chat. And my one sister wrote me back and she says, I went to a couple of websites to check out about the movie, and she said it got some really good ratings. I'm like, what do you mean? And she started telling me, and I was like, bull crap. It's a well-made movie. I mean, I thought it was very, very good movie. So maybe I just have bad taste or something, if that's how most people would feel about it. But what made me mad was because I'm seeing it today, with what's going on in the world. And when I saw what they were saying about the movie, it was like I just got so upset because it said that I thought it was a very good historical movie about about freedom and about working together to support your veterans. All that stuff. That hoorah, hurrah, hurrah! For America type thing is how I felt. But these people, they were saying stuff about it. I don't know. They said it was boring and just I don't know, just really really pissed me off. But I said all these Americans are these people today that would put that kind of rating on there that they're wearing flags and wanting us to send $40 billion over to Ukraine when they wouldn't even spend $15 on a veteran. I don't know. It just chapped my butt so bad. I could hardly stand it. So I'm not too happy about Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm just gonna say that there's too many people, and there's a lot of individuals I know personally that they've got this mindset that they have to stand up for people like those Ukrainian people that they just had they have a war going on over there, but apparently U2, the music group, can have on a fucking full concert.
Yeah.
And then you have the drunken bitch Nancy Pelosi go over there, and they can keep her safe. But whatever's going on, it's a war effort. We need money, guys. We need money. Come on, get money, get money. And so all these schlups, God bless you, idiots, but got fucking Ukrainian flags on their profiles for every social media they're a part of. I'm part of the biggest thing. I'm part of the biggest thing.
No.
And it chaps my ass. These guys aren't getting
really
$40 billion to fucking Ukraine. They're not getting upset about the fact that, we have to research how to make baby formula from scratch. We don't have to, we don't have these things.
It's terrible because it just like, I don't know. I just can't comprehend a lot of this stuff that's going on. It just does not make
Any sense.
yeah, there's no common sense left in the world or something. It's like you got a big roaring fire in your front yard. You walk over and you put your hands in it, and you burn yourself knowing you're going to get burned, but you still keep putting your hand in there. That's the dumbness of it to me. So I
Shit,
don't.
like what's going on with Shad's right now because the market is totally fucked. He's over there trying to figure out where my parents and I going to live at. They're looking at eviction notices. They're trying to fight it. The kids got mommy and daddy's property. They don't want to keep the upkeep going on. They can just sell it and make money on it. So that's what we're doing. Everybody out. We're going to make money on this. Fucking bulldoze it, make it into apartments. And so, like, you have tens of people like that in every fucking neighborhood in every city. But because the housing market is such shit right now, with being 70% over what should be normal market, nobody's got money to buy a two bathroom, 3-bedroom house. It's $350,000 or more.
Yeah.
Travis is like, it makes perfect sense if you throw the sense out the window. And Shadzar's like, they don't give a shit, Janet. They already have their money. They can just print us more money.
I'm writing something to them right now on my chat. Sorry, I'm really slow. I'm not very good at this stuff.
You're good. You're good. And I don't mean to go off topic so drastically, but me and Janet have a chance to rant. We're gonna take that detour and spill our guts for a moment. There's
If we're passionate about what we love, I mean, I wish more people were passionate about things that they cared about and would voice it. I think
exactly.
we stand up and do that.
Like I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you still have a secure home and you still have enough money for fuel, and you're like, I have a little bit extra blow money still. Do I buy more ammunition? Do I buy more beer? I'm telling you, kids, get more of these. Get
Buy
more
it.
of these.
That's it. Because you're going to need it.
And I keep those in this room for a specific reason, because it's good to have that nearby if things go downhill.
That's right. Keep them
Having
dry.
an option to throw it back at somebody instead of cower, hide, and pray is a hell of a lot better. So,
Because one,
go
they're
ahead.
going to run out of other people's money. Think about it. Just like in Venezuela, they ran out of other people's money. And then when it's time to spend their money, what do? They move. Because they don't want to spend their own money. They want to spend your money. And all politicians are that way.
I like what Shadzar has there.
Which one?
By all means, let Janet rant.
Thank you. Most men don't want to hear women gripe. You get up in the room.
I'm going to tell you, my channel's set up as an echo chamber of the constitutionally minded. And for some people, that means the alt-right, but that's okay. If you're calling me the alt-right, there's other dog whistles you call me too, and I don't give a shit. But
people
go ahead.
do that? Have you had people you? Have you had people complain to you on your page about your alt-right points of view?
They did in the beginning, and then I just got like throttled. I've been not demonetized, but it's really hard for me to get new viewers. Like today, I got some new viewers because we finally fixed what was going on with the Discord with EBN, Echo Base Network.
Mm-hmm.
And if you tithe over there like $10 a month or so, they will put every new piece of activity from your YouTube activity on their member page, which is kind of nice. They've got like about 40 members a day that put something new on the web, though, that are of the Jedi Master tier or above. And I'm like, okay, well, that's at least another billboard I need. You know, I need a billboard because
Yeah.
those are the people, like most people that watch the old Star Wars and Star Trek. That's my tribe. You know, that's the people that I want to have watching the movies with me or watching movie reviews. And it's really that's the people that I want to be marketed to because they have other things other than Star Wars and Echo Base Network they want to watch. You know, they have on average probably 70 channels that they are subscribed to. And so I just want to make sure that I'm getting out right, and I tell everybody, you know, where you can find me and what we're doing and my weekly schedule. And out of politeness for others, I don't try to stream on certain nights. Although tonight, after this, I will want to direct people over to Comics Division because I want Comics Division to get our handful or two of people that we get because we always get at least a handful.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch it. I have missed the last 2 weeks before this one, yelling at our cars, which is, one of my favorite shows on his channel. I really love Comics' show. And I really like the panel and everything. That's one of the first channels, that I watched. The first time I watched, um, Friday Night Tights, and I got to see everybody on that show. I started going to their channels and watching their shows, and I really liked Comics Division because even though I'm a girl, I love political commentary, especially when it's factual and they show facts and things like that. I wish there was more shows, real shows that talked about these things because everything is so watered down. And I think it's because I think that people just can't handle it or something. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know why they don't just tell the truth.
The truth will get you like what Fat Steven Seagal's got going on right now on his channel.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing the trucker streams for Canada.
Yeah, I watched a lot of them and shared them on my.
Yep, I did too. Yeah, they took note of it and they have got him demonetized. He's making no money off YouTube now.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, he has 5,000 subscribers, thousands of watch hours. And he's absolutely not a favored son of YouTube anymore.
that's what happens whenever, But the sad thing is, don't they still make money off his channel even if they're not giving him money?
Correct. Because if he's got ads that are playing on his channel, they're making money off that. Somebody's going to buy it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand how most of this stuff works anyway, since I'm new at it. And the only reason I even started doing it was because I used to make goofy videos and send them to friends and family, and they went, "You need to have a TikTok." And I'm like, "Huh? What do you mean?" They said, "Go see TikTok." And I go, "I can't do that. I was told it's owned by China." So when Trump said that, if he would let them have TikTok here in America, if somebody from America was to do it, and when they did that, I went, okay, I guess I can start a TikTok. So I went on there and I was like, bam, bam, starting to get more and more people. And I was like, hey, people like my videos. I was surprised. So when I saw that YouTube had shorts, I went, what the heck? I'm going to do some with just shorts on it because I don't really think that I could do a live stream with a bunch of, what am I supposed to do on a live stream as my therapist character? I mean, do like have men come on there and interview them about what it's like to have romance in this day and age or something. I don't know. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I've got a couple of ideas, but we'll see. Maybe I'll do
Well,
something.
I think that no matter what you do, I think people will tune in to listen to you. And if your material is good, I think you'll be able to be involved with your crew, be it on YouTube or Instagram or Rumble. I got my Rumble channel up.
I've been trying to work on one, but I haven't been able to figure it out.
Well, if you have videos on YouTube, they have a synchronization where they just pull your videos over,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I have a lot of people that say that TikTok is nuts and they won't use TikTok. But the thing is, I'm very selective on TikTok. I don't, I mean, I know people, actual people that go to work and their whole lunch break, they do nothing but watch TikTok videos. And I think TikTok's funny, and I'll see a couple of funny ones every so often, but I don't even sit there and watch all these nutty videos. I'm gonna watch a couple duets or little things like that that's entertaining, and I'll share a few. But and I do different stuff on TikTok than I do on my regular YouTube because it's a different type of channel. So I'll do like the singing, dancing type videos and stuff like that. And I have put a few of them on my YouTube, but every single time I do, I get a copyright strike because they say I can't have that on there or whatever. But I don't have any money. I'm not making money, so I don't care. I'm gonna leave it on there. And if I ever do make it to where I get monetized, then I'll take them off YouTube. But I'm not that. I don't care. I'm doing it because I like it. It's fun. Um, and the whole reason I started making them in the first place, I was bored to death, and I was having a lot of problems with myself, my self esteem, things like that. And so I made the videos because it was fun, and I could be something else for a short moment of time. And I shared them with my friends and stuff, and that's why I decided to put them on YouTube and on TikTok. And I still enjoy doing it. It's fun. It makes me laugh. I have fun when I make them. Sometimes, I've made sad ones. I've made happy ones. I've made, kind of sexy ones. I've told jokes. And I try to only do the ones with dirty words or anything like that. And I put them in 18 or older because I don't want a young, 10-year-old, whatever, on YouTube that should only be on YouTube Kids, but that's on regular YouTube. Watching one of my videos, I think I would probably have a heart attack if somebody ever kept saying, "My 10-year-old watched that video and you said this," and I'm like, "What?" So I try to make sure it's set for no children, even though most of mine aren't like that. Most of them are just a quote that I think a kid would think is boring, anyways. But my cartoon glasses and eyes, I guess a kid might think that's funny or something and want to see it. But But yeah, I recommend anybody that likes war movies should watch this movie, especially if you like the old movies, like the ones that I remember my mom wanted me to watch when I was young, because she liked those movies and they had that, I don't know, love and romance, with tragedy, and just had all the aspects it touched in the story. And it gave me an old feel of an old movie to me. So I don't know if anybody else would see it that way, but I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a really good movie to put your feet up and have some popcorn and to fall in love with the characters and to feel good about it done watching it because all those men were saved. And that is a historical thing. They saved those men from that POW camp. So it definitely got a feel good ending to it. So I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I gotta say that I love this movie because it does its best with what it has to make a mid 2000s war film, and they made it look authentic. Yeah, there's a little bit more grit and grime they could have had in a few places, but with the POW camp, I think they did a fantastic job of making those guys look emaciated and starved. I didn't see a whole lot of CGI, which is the best CGI. The less you notice, the better. When your eyes are going fucking crazy because you're seeing the uncanny valley shit. Like the first time I saw Battle Arena, Battle Angel, whatever her name is,
Yeah.
the Alita Battle Angel movie. I saw that the trailer, and during the trailer, my eyes were going nuts because that looks good, but her eyes, but her eyes, but her eyes, but her eyes. And I kept thinking about that. And I was going nuts because I'm like, that doesn't look as bad as like the JJ Trek when they had the big-eyed girl helping with the delivery in the start of the film. That was miserable. That was the worst case of Uncanny Valley where I was brought out of the film and I'm like, I'm watching fucking CGI. but the trailer for Alita Battle Angel really hurt me, but not that bad. This movie has a little bit of CGI in it. I didn't notice it, and that made me feel really good. I think in the final countdown, the only part of the uncanny valley that I hit was when they went to the slow motion camera, and you see the on the wing camera as the machine gun chews up one of the Zeros. I didn't like that slow motion special effects shit, but I never have. I don't like slow motion.
Well, I love the slow motion effect in the movie with Keanu Reeves, where he's ducking all those bullets, and you can see
Oh
the,
yeah, the
the air
Matrix.
moving, yeah, the air moving around the bullets and stuff. To
Yes.
me, you couldn't done that with it. That made that part of the movie believable because it wasn't supposed to be reality. He was altering reality, basically. You know what I mean? In his
Mhm.
mind, he was able to dodge the bullets because it wasn't real. It was only in his mind, but he didn't know it at the time. The actual reason why he was able to do that stuff, but it was really good effect in the movie, I thought, and it was slow motion. So it depends on the scene whether the slow motion is worth having it. Like the scene, oh, one of my favorite slow motion scenes was in the movie that that was it the it was the X-Men movie where Quicksilver is running through the
Yes.
lunch kitchen.
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, Days of Future Past, and he's running through the kitchen so fast that he's able to taste the spilt cake batter in the
Yes.
air and to stop move the bullets around and everything. I just love that scene. That scene is so good. I absolutely loved him as Quicksilver. I thought he did such a good job, and I got to meet him in person a couple times. He's a nice guy too, Evan Peters. And that was a really, really, really good scene. I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, the Shadjar was saying something about the Conan Barbarian got owned by Tencent, and they own some IP of Conan, maybe all of it, but they're putting together some things, and they pulled it from Marvel. They don't want Marvel to fuck with it anymore.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. I hate to say that sometimes China's on target, but they're on target right now.
Yeah,
Because
it'd be nice though if we could get different companies that had money to be able to buy characters from Disney. You know what I mean?
yeah,
To buy some of these outright from them and be able to take them in a different direction and actually try to do something that the fans would like instead of I don't know what. I mean, I don't even see who I can't even understand at all who Disney's even catering to because it's not catering to any of the people that would pay money to go see it 5 or 6 times. So who are they catering to? They're not catering to anyone that wants to make money. So I don't know how they expect for these to ever last in the future.
I don't see it happening.
I don't either. I don't understand it. I don't. It doesn't make it. Me in the past, people used to want to make money. You want a movie try to get a blockbuster. That's what the whole thing behind being in the movies was what you wanted to do, or to win an Academy Award, or to make a buttload of money. I mean, that was the two reasons to make movies. But apparently, that isn't anymore. I don't know movies
They just
anymore.
want to have people making free money that are marginalized. So we got to have no cis white men in any of these films ever again. Can't ever have them employed. It's just we've got to tarnish that brand as much as possible, and therefore, I mean, their first thing they ruined was Star Wars. I mean, the first thing they really ruined was Star Wars, but that was one where everybody realized, like, oh God, we've been had. Because when you realize just how bad Star Wars is messed up now, like, oh my God, we're in trouble, and I don't see a young female with a lightsaber anywhere. I think we're fucked. We're the scene before the credits start. We're the stinger.
If you would have told me 10 years ago that some of this stuff was going to come to fruition, I would have said, full of shit. I wouldn't have believed you at all. I would have made a bet. I would have bet anybody that
God, I would love to
whatever,
bet
that
you.
no way what we're seeing right now in today's society would have ever happened. I mean, I was so blind back then, 10 years ago, to anything that was going on. I would, it's like we really are a clown world. When someone said that, I was like, I didn't understand for sure what they meant when they were saying that. But I look around now and I'm like, it really is. We are in bizarro world. That's what we're in. It's, it's, it's unfathomable. Like it's makes me laugh because I just cannot believe that this is reality, that this is really happening on a daily basis in our country and around the world, not just here. It's like it's like there our countries, all the governments in the world are, there's a cartoon, I don't remember what the name of it was, years ago, and it had the world, and they had all these kids and people holding hands, and the cartoon drawing, and they're all holding hands all the way around the world. I think it was for recycling or something, but that's what I think of. I'm looking at a drawing of the earth with all the different people from the different countries, but the governments all holding hands all the way around the world in conjunction with each other to screw everyone else in the world. Let's screw over every country in the world by making them bend to our will, basically. But it doesn't matter if you kill half the people in the world, just like Thanos, which is reality now. It basically seems like that's coming true, because you want to lower the numbers so we have less mouths to feed. But what really cracked me up is you got Africa, basically the whole continent didn't do anything, didn't accept any of this crap. They didn't accept all the vaccinations. They didn't accept all these changes and stuff with the World Health Organization, all this stuff. So all the people they wanted to get rid of, the mass millions of people, are from the continents that didn't want to be involved in any of it. So it's like, that's all that's going to be left when everyone else dies from all the stupidity.
I'm so sad because like I don't mind Belarus. The people of Belarus are really nice people. They really are. But their guy they've got, he's just another stooge for Putin. No surprise,
Yeah.
no surprise there.
Hmm.
But like, holy cow, they are so anti woke in Belarus right now, and they never went with the masks. They were like, we really don't think the masks are going to work, and so they had this mindset from the get go of all this crap going on that they weren't going to take part of it. And you have a lot of people in Eastern Europe which are slated to get some terrible calamity because how dare you not follow the IMF? How dare you not be involved with your local churches and being shut down? Instead, you're out there breathing on people and singing songs and clapping. How dare you? And they're upset. And the thing is that you have Belarus, you guys are gonna confuse me here, but Russia isn't a total bad guy. In fact, if some of you single men out there are able to find a Russian bride that wants to come over to America or wherever you're at in Western civilization, you'd probably be wise if you're single to go ahead and bite that bullet and go ahead and do it because you're going to help preserve her lineage and yours because she's probably super hot and she probably wants to be adopted or married. Married is the operative term here. Ukrainian
Well,
girls are hot too, but I'm just saying that the Russians aren't that bad.
what
Okay, yeah,
name
you have Putin, but
um,
he's crazy. Go
that
ahead.
news commentator guy from that TV show used to be called the Red Eye on Fox? Greg Guffield. He married a Russian woman.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I know it can happen if you meet someone, but I think you could fall in love with just about anyone if you if you could meet people and spend time with them and get to know what they like and what they don't like. I
Oh
think
yeah.
you could fall in love. I don't think it has to be that there's a one person in the world that's just for you. I don't believe that. I believe that there's multiple people for people because it's taking the time and effort to get to know each other, spend time with each other, talk to each other, find out what you have in common, what things you don't like, that kind of stuff, because you might find out that you have way more in common than you thought, or you have nothing in common besides, a sexual attraction or something once you met each other. But to have a long-term relationship, you got to have something more than just that, or it definitely is not going to work. But I don't.
It'll work if you ignore it and go fuck other people and never go home again. And don't answer the phone from a divorce lawyer. Just
Sooner or later, that ain't going to work. You know what I'm saying? Sooner
I'm
or later,
speaking to my good friend Chuck out there. We saw you. We know what you were doing.
but you got bills, and if you, especially what's sad is if you have kids involved, and most people don't think about that. You don't talk about, well, when you're dating, whether or not you want to have a family or not, because you're not thinking that far ahead. You're just thinking about the moment, especially when you're young. I think it's the older couples, the ones that have been, married, divorced. They were married for like 10 years. They get divorced and they meet the second person. They've learned a little bit about the mistakes they made. And then when they meet the next one, they spend a little bit more time getting to know the person instead of just saying that they're attracted to them sexually. They actually make a relationship. And then usually it works, because I know a lot of people that got married the second time and they're still married. They're
Hi, hammer, meet nail.
hey,
That's our guy.
crafts will keep you out of trouble.
Yeah, this will keep me out of trouble.
Things, woodworking, planting, working in the garden, all that stuff. What's really great is if you get someone that wants to sit next to you and do it.
We gave her a book. One of my players gave her the player's handbook 2 weeks ago, and she read like the first 3 chapters. So she knows the dice, she knows the races, and she knows classes.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, it looks like a lot of fun, but there's a lot to it, and I want to have my hands on all of it whenever I play. I don't want to play because I think I'm going to suck. And I'm like, just fucking play. And she's like, I don't want to suck. I'm like, that's how you get better, sugar. And she's like, but I don't want to suck. I'm like, honey, I didn't start great, and I'm still not great. I'm just getting better. That's all there is to it.
Well, they tell you how to help her. Then go get. Does she play Xbox?
She has a phone and she plays Candy Crush.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, get her Xbox and get her a couple games like Lego Batman or SpongeBob SquarePants, kids games. Okay.
Yes.
Play those, and you realize how bad she really is. That kids at 10 years old and under can play better than they can. Like me, I done that. They're fun games, but I suck at it. So if you can suck at a kid's game, then it doesn't matter if you suck at any game, because it's just a game. It helps you get past the worrying about being sucky. Now, one of the games I loved, and I could never fight the last fight. I could not. I'd never passed it until my Xbox exploded. The original one was Baldur's Gate, the final battle. I never was able to finish because I sucked. I just couldn't do it. I don't know if it's because my hands aren't fast enough, or I don't know. I just have no idea. But
the Baldur's Gate on the Xbox was a Twitch game.
Mm-hmm.
I say Twitch because it was a fast action game. You need to have very fast reflexes for it. Every time people say Baldur's Gate, I don't think of that game. I think of the game from 1998 that they released using the second edition rules, and it was a really fun computer RPG. And if she will let me, I will buy that for her phone so she can actually get an idea of what the gaming is like. But the Baldur's Gate game, that was like, I probably spent 300 hours with different characters and different outcomes. It's a giant railroad. Most RPGs are, you know how they start, you know how they end, but there's different things that happen to your character. There's about 70 or 80 player or non-player characters that you can pick up for your party, and so you hear different stories from everybody on this way that you're going to the giant choo-choo train at the very end. But she's not wanting to play that yet because it looks just too big. And she's one of these nice ladies that she gets analysis paralysis, like putting her on Skyrim, which is one of Shauner's favorite games.
Yeah.
Skyrim is really cool because it just plops you on a continent, have fun, and it leaves you. And then you got to go and just find your own story. But that was a newer game than Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate, the first one was written in 1998 on second edition rules, and all the sequels for that were second edition rules. But there was other games in the D&D series. Shads are saying that, well, it was on all 3E rules. Oh, there's some of them, like the Icewind Dale Part 2. Up to Icewind Dale 1, it was all first edition or first and second edition D&D with lots of kits.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, like, some people just get analysis paralysis where they need a railroad. If they're going to play a game, it has to be like located everything on screen, like Robotron or Candy Crush. There's no continent to explore. There's no different people to have different choices in conversation with. You have to cater to that. And there's some people that really do well with those sort of games.
Yeah.
She's one of those people, I feel.
To me, those games are a lot like solitaire, basically. You just like flipping it over until you get to the end or whatever. But I love on my iPad, some of the games that I play are games where you have to find things that are hidden in the room and solve puzzles and things to get through the get to the next level in the game. I used to have a little tiny, what are those things called now? The little Nintendos. We had the little games you stick into them. DS, the Nintendo DS. Mine disappeared. I don't have it, but I love these games. It was like Dr. Laughlin games. Did you ever play any of those?
No.
Okay, they were all like mystery games where you had to solve the puzzles and answer the questions and and the unwound clock. One of them, there was like 6 different ones, and I loved those games. And they weren't cheap, man. They were like $50 a piece. And I would let other people, play them after I was finished. But they were fun. I mean, they were really good and very. You got some naked hot girls in here again.
Yeah, I see that.
Boy, Bruce, them boss just want you.
They really do.
They must want you, babe. They think you're hot.
I got no clue.
Because I know they're not after me, because I'm not into women.
But this and for those of you that only subscribed 60 days ago, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to wait on this broadcast. You comment. I have to prove your comments, but
what do they do? What do bots do anyways? I mean, how do you what do they
spam?
I know it. What is spam?
They just spam a website over and over and over again.
How do they make money off of it?
I have no idea. I have no clue.
Because, like, when you get all these phone calls and they call you and say, your car warranty has expired, if you want to sign up and blah, blah, blah. And you get one like every single day. Okay. You block that number and the next day you get another. And it sounds like the exact same phone call, right? From a ghost number or whatever. But nobody ever uses the phone and they block it every time. How does that people make money off of it? Because somebody's making money somewhere, or they wouldn't be calling you every single day. You see what I mean?
Correct.
I don't understand. I still haven't been able to understand how these people are making any money if nobody's answering the phone. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, this movie is highly recommended for me. I'm gonna stagger back to that. the movie answers a lot of different questions because we know that there was a lot of POWs taken. We have the Bataan Death March, which happened,
Mm-hmm.
but this movie really goes into the reasons why and why this company or why the Rangers are so revered now. And this raid perfectly encapsulates why people get excited when they hear U.S. Army Ranger.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that at the very beginning, when he was doing the voiceover, he's talking about there were 3 POW camps, okay,
Mm-hmm.
not just one, and that they only freed the people in the one camp. So, because I guess because it was the one that had the most POWs in it, the 500, supposedly 500 POWs in that camp. So that, I thought about that during the movie too. But the first one was supposedly the one where you saw them at the very beginning when they herded everyone in the air raid shelters, the 2 big air raid shelters. And then,
I thought there's 3, but okay.
no, I know, but there might have been 3, but I just remember seeing one on the left and one on the right, and they were rolling the big barrels into them. And the gas was coming out of them. Okay, so that was one camp where they got rid of the people. So that one, they couldn't have done anything anyways because they talked about it too when Benjamin Bratt and Franco were talking about what had happened to the other camp, and that's one reason why they want to try to get in there and free those POWs before they do something to them. And then the one guy that tried to escape and they captured him, he was talking before he tried to escape about how they were making them dig air raid shelters to the guy that was trapped in the bed because he was sickly. So they were already digging the holes for themselves to be burnt alive. From what you would gather from the information you got from the actual movie, when they were, from the conversations between the prisoners. So, and that when they interviewed some of the on the DVD, there are interviews with some of the soldiers,
Survivors.
yeah. So and survivors, and I think there's a couple of people that were actually involved in the raid interviews too. That's why I said I should have dug that out and watched it, which I can. But it's just sad to know that if they hadn't been rescued, they probably every one of them would be dead. None of them would have lived. So whoever went home and it was able to have children and grandchildren because of it, the only reason they're there is because they were saved. So, that's really that's like a miracle basically. So I'm happy they were freed. Wish we could have freed a lot more. He's asking a question about, it says something about when watching this movie, do you consider lockdowns in the US or what you have seen recently kind of to be similar?
And I replied back. I said, I'm thinking long after I'm dead, and if the U.S. has got the intention to follow the WEF into the hole, I
Yeah.
think I'm going to be dead, and then we'll have the Shanghai-isms over here. We'll have the people getting their welded into their apartments. We'll have the executions in the street. We'll have that. Oh, we caught you outside your home. You need to go
Mhm.
back to your home so we can weld you in. I can see that happening because we're stupid and we would let it happen. Because right now, I'm waiting for Colonel Allen West, full bird, retired Allen West, fucker, come out and say, I'm activating the inactive reserve and all vets that took an oath of enlistment. I'm activating you. I'm waiting for this moment because we can have a free country. We can have a free country based on the principles within the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have a leader right now that's got the nuts to lead us against this regime.
Well, he's handing us over to him.
Yeah. And Biden's just handing us right on over. The 22nd of May, we're supposed to lose our sovereignty.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, man, that could be the day.
That's next Sunday.
Yeah. The day that he hands over the United States to the WHO.
Well, it was nice knowing you, Bruce, because when they come to my house, I'm going to shoot them. And they're going to end up shooting me. They're going to kill me. So
that's going to pretty much end up be on what happens over here too.
I'll try to strap on my GoPro. Happens so that go down on camera. Because I have bought a GoPro and it's got everything. I bought every attachment they had with it. It was on sale, and I bought the floaty deal, the head thing, the chest deal, the stuff to hook on your handlebars on a bicycle. I mean, everything they had, just so I could have a GoPro and maybe do something. I haven't done it. My batteries are all charged and stuff, and I finally put the app on my phone and was ready to start using it, and I haven't done it yet. Now that the weather's good, though, I was thinking about, remember I was telling you to get some of those little overalls for some of my chickens and the little fake arms, and then put some GoPros on them, let them run around and see what I get, because I think it'd be funny as heck. But yeah, that's what's going to happen to me. So
I plan on no quarter here either. There's not going to be any like, well, I guess this is where we give up. No, we don't. I moved out of a crappy state, and for those of you that live in Illinois, I feel sorry for you, but you don't have to live there. If you don't like living in Detroit, you can move. So, I mean, just take that knowledge and, you guys that have cars, you guys that have fuel that can get down the road 50 or 60 miles, if you want to sell everything, give it away, pack a bag or two, and just get somewhere where the life could be better for you, you can do it. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's going to think any less of you. Nobody's going to think any more of you. Actually, either they're going to be pissed and jealous that they didn't do it, because a lot of people that do that make other people really question the things going on in their life. Like, well, what if this area turns to shit for me? A lot of my friends from Peoria and Illinois in general don't live there anymore. The only time they go back there is whenever they get stupid and they're like, I missed my parents. And like all your friends move the fuck out to get jobs and careers and raise families somewhere safer. Not that San Antonio is a safe city. It's very violent. You can hear gunshots if you open your doors. But it's an election that you choose to live where you live. And that's, I would much rather live in a place like over by Fort Smith, Arkansas, or somewhere in BFE, Texas than San Antonio. But right now, I've got things set up pretty good here. I'm kind of comfortable. I'm not going to lie. Getting comfortable is the worst thing I ever did, because I stopped wanting to move and explore and discover. I liked San Antonio a lot, and it has the things that I need still. And as long as people of San Antonio continue to push for no mask. Go ahead.
You're in a great state. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So when it push comes to shove, I mean, we only need a few more states to sign in so we can do the convention of states, and maybe we won't have to worry about it. We have our own National Guard or whatever. And as long as they vow not to listen to the WHO, maybe we'll have a fighting chance. We don't have to worry about them coming in our houses while we're sleeping, trying to take us out because we wouldn't do what they told us to, the WHO. Horton here too. Scares you know what? But the thing is, where I'm at right now, what I've been working on is like I was saying earlier, was driving back and forth between Louisiana and Arkansas. I go to a lot of small towns, and the pandemic started. You can go through these towns, stop, get gas, get something to eat. Nobody ever wore masks. They were never locked down. They were never wearing masks. They weren't running around petrified they were going to die. And every time I went back, it was exactly the same. So the paranoia and stuff wasn't in these small towns. It's in the bigger areas where there's a lot more people. And then you had the people that were pushing the people around. Those people in charge were the ones that were causing most of the problems, because all these little towns and these, people that live in trailers or small little wooden homes, a little brick house or whatever, no mansions or anything like that. Driving here and there through all these little towns, and that's all you see. You just see normal people trying to live their lives, selling fruit on the side of the road, fruits and vegetables in their gardens and stuff. And that's it. I mean, their lives didn't change at all.
Not really.
But in the cities and the small area I have right now, I mean, I have chickens, woods almost cover all the way around my property. And, if it comes down to it, this is where I want to be, right here where I'm at right this minute, because I have a way I could protect this place and keep myself from being invaded. But you need more people than one person. You got to have people that could watch this place 24 hours a day to keep other people from coming and trying to take your water or whatever else you might have. So, that's when you're going to need people you trust, because when you're sleeping, you got to know that you trust them enough that they're not going to kill you in your sleep to take your property from you. But I'm willing to share if I can trust people, and there's a lot of people just like that are willing to say, okay, we got this group, we can all do this, and we got this greenhouse to start doing this, and let's do this. And everybody have their jobs and everybody do their job, and you will have stuff and you'll be able to protect it because you have enough people to protect it from the people from the cities when they start coming out of the cities to take the whatever you got because they're hungry or they need more weapons or whatever. It's going to be just like the real Walking Dead, but without the zombies. More like Mad Max or something, I guess.
I'm pretty okay with that.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I spend so much time on myself. Maybe that's why I make so many crazy videos. But when you spend a lot of time by yourself, you do crazy stuff apparently. But I know who I am. I know my thought process. I know that I'm ready. I'm ready to defend what little bit I have. But I'm willing to share some too, depending on who I'm going to share it with. But I'm willing to barter for eggs, chicken, fruits and vegetables, or whatever else. What does that say?
Janet, not sure if you're into this, but I would like to suggest a channel for you from Staff Sergeant Badass. One Step Survival is the channel name. He's not bad. The other one that I recommend is the Patriot Nurse. Patriot Nurse is a real sweet lady, and she does a lot of survival prepper stuff from a nurse's perspective. So I would recommend the Patriot Nurse.
Okay, we'll have to look. We'll have to go do that because I follow a few prepping channels. Like I tell people in some of the spaces on Twitter about how important it is to have water. Okay. I have a well, okay, which I would get fresh drinking water from, but you have to have water from other means so that you can like wash dishes, do your laundry, cook with it, water your animals or whatever else with it. So you'd have water, and you don't want to trust the water in the lake and things like that because, it's got bacteria or whatever in it. But so what I watched a show and they were talking about getting those pool test kits, like they sell at Walmart or General and stuff.
How much chlorine or whatever else is in there.
Get one of those test kits and then you fill up one of those plastic pools, for kids, bigger the better. And then you have a tarp to cover it up really good. But what you do is you you keep that filled, with water that you go get from the lake or wherever you're getting it from ponds. Filter it a little bit, with cheesecloth or whatever, and then you pour it in that. But then you take your test kit and you test it, and then you add whatever chemicals that your test kit tells you to. And it doesn't have to be 100% safe for drinking, but if you can swim in it, that means you can bathe in it. It means you can wash your clothes in it. It means you can use it to cook, to boil your bags of whatever you want to put in there for like your Patriot Supply food or whatever you might have in there. You can use it for that, or boil eggs in it, things like that. So you can always have enough water to do that, to use for household needs or whatever, and it's safe where you won't get bacteria and things like that to make you sick. So little things like that, and I think it's important, little things that you can do to help you outlast the other person, because the first few days in the city probably won't be so bad, but as soon as everybody starts running out of water or food in their home, they're going to go to the next place and keep the door in or whatever and take whatever they want from these other people, and hopefully they won't have to kill them. But I mean, people were killing each other for a pair of shoes before. What do you think they're going to do when they're really hungry? It's going to be really bad. But then after the cities are drained out, that's when they're going to start moving out to the rural areas and into the country. So we have to be ready. And it's so funny because all these lawyers and bankers and these elitist people that are used to having money and being able to do all these things, that now they don't have bodyguards or they don't have their Uber driver or whatever. What's their life going to be like? I mean, how much is that going to change? But people like us that are used to doing things for ourselves, our life will change a little because we won't have electricity or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen, but it won't really change as much about being able to take care of ourselves because we're used to it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I hope nothing happens. I hope we just get rid of the dum-dums that are trying to run the country into the ground, and get some new people in there and things start getting better, and it doesn't end up being some bad tragedy. I'm hoping, but I don't know. I don't really have a lot of faith in what's going on. I'm scared, but I'm not afraid to die for what I believe in, so that might just be what happens. Yeah. But I'm prepared. Mentally, I'm ready.
That might be exactly what happens. We are living in some scary times right now, and this is, we're in an uncharted area for most of us.
Yeah.
With the upcoming stuff going on with the U.S. sovereignty coming up to vote. Nobody here is allowed to vote on this, by the way. It's all people that don't like you. It's all people that are involved with the WEF. So just probably expect the next day for some weird stuff to happen. And
some weird stuff's already been happening. We had a couple people, 3 different shootings in the last 2 days or something.
Well, they have to have the narrative out there. Guns bad.
And I'm saying all leading up to them handing over our rights, basically, because they can say, well, right before elections, it's supposed to take effect, the 1st or something of November or something. So right before elections, they can shut everything down and say, well, we want to make sure no one has guns because we don't think it's safe for the health of the people, because there's going to be too much turmoil during the elections and blah, blah, blah. They can say whatever they want. They have all the all the eggs in their basket. No one else has a say unless we stand up and fight for ourselves. So it's going to really be, I don't know. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be really bad. And you won't be able to watch it on TV because they're not going to show you. If they're not winning, they're not going to show you. All you're going to see is all the bad stuff and how they're winning.
Well, there is an app on the iStore. I'm sure it's on Amazon or on Amazon Fire Stick or Samsung too, but I want to say that there's an app called MXM News, and it's by Donald Trump Jr.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really good, and it goes into a lot of detail. It goes into a lot of different things. You will find news stories on there that you've not found before. You'll see things getting recommended to you that you forgot they were a news outlet, like The Blaze. Okay.
If you do put that on your phone or your iPad, right, and I download it, I can watch the news and stuff. If the iStore decides to take it down because they think it's like propaganda or whatever, will you still be able to use the app?
I believe so.
Okay, because I
I've, I've
didn't
not
turn the app.
I've not seen anybody making noise to get rid of the app because it does. There's just a better uh, curated news on that than like say Apple or Samsung News,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody's made mention of it yet.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping, because I thought that if they said, well, we don't like what they have to say, we'll just turn them off. You know what I mean? So if they can do that, then that sucks.
That does suck, but I mean, you have you have other ways to get your info wars. You have other ways to watch Alex Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't do it off of the iStore. You can do it off of a browser. And as long as you realize that, you always, as long as your mindset is open to where you can find alternate means to do the things that you want to do, I really think that you're going to be fine. I think a lot of Americans are wired like that because right now we're going through a food shortage, baby food shortage. But
Mm-hmm.
I keep seeing people that they're doing one of two things. They're either showing you alternate means to get on Amazon Mexico or Amazon Canada and ship out of Amazon wherever into your United States address for a pallet of baby food. Or there's people out there that are saying, I have the recipe for this.
Mm-hmm.
I can give it to you. It's easy. It's still sold in stores. And so you just have to buy a lot of like condensed or powdered milk, and you have to buy, get some warm water available, a little bit of vanilla extract if that's part of it. I don't know. I'm not a birthing person, okay? and and I'm not
That's
trying to be a total douche here, but whoever invented birthing person needs to get hit in the head.
well, the reason they're selling that is because there's a magazine cover. I think it was I'm trying to remember the name of the company. It's one of those big clothes companies, but I can't remember the name of it right this second. They're doing a campaign, and it has a woman laying on the bed, and she's hugging a guy. Supposedly he's sitting on the floor leaning against the bed, and it's got a big belly. So it's
You're talking
basically,
about Calvin Klein.
yeah, Calvin Klein. That commercial I saw. I didn't remember the name of the company, but it's a pregnant man, but it's not a man. It's a woman that's had a sex change. Well,
Yeah,
not all the way, partial sex change, or they wouldn't have be able to be pregnant. And then I saw another article somewhere else. This was weeks and weeks ago, though, about somebody getting a man getting a uterus planted into him. Now I don't know if it worked or not. I haven't been able to find out anything else about it. Have you seen that?
I've heard about it. I've not looked at the information.
Yeah, I think
The
it was.
reason why I didn't look at the information was that I just get disgusted when I read things like that. Like 2013 and 14, I think this kid here in Texas, Mac Beggs,
Hmm.
was a high school wrestler that couldn't place in regionals, and he got a sex change. He got a add a vag to me,
Hmm.
and it worked. And he
Sorry, I've
decided,
never heard that before.
yeah, he got an add a vag to me, and he got it in place, and then he took state for. I couldn't believe we have it here, but Texas high school girls wrestling. Texas high school girls. I never. I'm from Illinois. That's a pretty big wrestling high school state. Like that's not going to keep your high school in the money. Your basketball and football will, but the wrestling has some legacy families involved with it that routinely will help throw money at the camps, and their kids routinely place because that's all the kids do is stay in good shape for the high school years, and they're height weight appropriate for many years after, until about age 40, when your metabolism and your motivation to work out every day is it's supplanted by, I want to have fun, I want to drink a beer,
Yeah.
I want to relax. I'm at 40 now. And you let it go. You just say goodbye to size 30 jeans, or size 30 inseams, or not inseams, but size 30 waists, size 28 waists. We're done. And we go into the 30s and then maybe the 40s. And you do that.
Yeah, but don't feel bad because it happens to women. If they didn't wear a bra, their boobs would be around their waist. So gravity works on women just like it does.
Gravity is such a cruel mistress.
But go ahead. Sorry.
But no, this kid got an addictomy, and he was the first. That was the first story I remember where the boys realized, like, hey, I can still play sports, and now I can run the table. I'll just get an added advantage to me, and I'll beat everyone in my bracket. And that was Mac Beggs, a high schooler out of Texas.
I know, but I thought logically they would do some kind of test to make sure that's what you wanted to do, that you're having a psychosis because you thought you were a woman trapped in a man's body, not the fact that you want to play sports. So you get a sex change so you can play sports and win. I didn't,
I mean, I guess some people would probably say that's a double win because they get to be the lickalotopus, and I mean, I've always been a lesbian. Even when I had a penis, I was a lesbian. I'm almost unable to say that with a straight face.
Yeah, I've heard guys say that, joking around. I've been trapped in this body. I'm a lesbian trapped in this man's body. That kind of stuff as a joke. But I don't want to add a dick to me. You know what I mean?
No, you like you better with the way you are.
Yeah, I'm happy with myself, and I mean, I just don't understand the mindset of that. But I'm not a therapist or a psychologist or any of that, so I don't know. Sad. But there you go. It just proves to me that Texas is way more purple than they thought they were by doing all that stuff in that state. And I'm hoping
we are really purple, and it's sad. But with the invasion going on at the southern border, I'm kind of fearful of what's going to happen in November here.
Yeah, hopefully. And flux from all the other states, from California and New York, that were flying to Texas and Florida. And then you got Beto just waiting in the wings to be your governor.
Yeah, we got little Beto there. Little baby Beto.
He's ready.
We're ready for him. Janet, you liked this movie quite a bit, didn't you?
Yes, I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. And I'm going to watch it again, I'm sure, very soon. Because I'm hoping I can get my sisters to watch it one at a time, and I'll just go hang out with them and we'll watch a movie.
I hope so too, because I think it's a great film. I think you've got some good actors in there that they haven't really had a super big film. Like you don't. Maybe the biggest actor in there's James Franco because he was in Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
But he's probably the big name in that entire film. He does a great job. The fight at the very end with the Japanese major that happens to get his comeuppance finally.
Yeah,
that fight made me really happy. In fact, whenever we were watching that in the theaters, everybody cheered. And this movie theater wasn't like your typical mom, dad, son, daughter, family, dog. It wasn't that. Like this entire theater was like fathers and sons all in the theater. Fathers
Yeah.
and sons separated by 20 to 25 years, and they're 45 and 20, or they're 60 and 30. But you could see like there were some generations that got in minivans that day or the pick 'em up trucks, and they went to see this movie because this is a type of movie you take your son to, or this type of movie you take your brother to and your dad, wheel dad in there, and you just have a real good time at the movie house. And
Yeah.
it was a very, very hoorah sort of film.
Yeah.
But
Patriotic,
yeah,
proud to be an American.
and it spoke to a lot of people on a lot of levels. After we were done, of course the army has their recruiting desk set up there.
Yeah.
So we had some people that were there, and a friend of mine went with us with his dad, and so we kind of like had this, like a bro day or a bro date, whatever, however you say that. But like my dad's best friend, and at the time one of my best friends, we went to go see this movie, and it was a lot of fun. It was actually one of those movies that you probably aren't going to see another movie like this in theaters, especially right now, because unless it's got like a trans poc, or it's got somebody that checks about 6 or 7 different marks. There's no need for this movie to be remade, and
Yeah.
nobody here that's watched it and enjoyed it and knows of the events. Nobody wants to see this get remade. God help us. I don't. Fucking Lily Singh is everywhere. I do not want to see her in camo fatigues pretending to be a World War II soldier.
I know. I hope they don't do something like that. I mean, there are movies that we can't let them do this to them.
Yeah.
It's, we
Um, Shadzar says, sadly, many can no longer say proud to be American except the ones coming in from somewhere else. I'm still proud to be an American. I'm just ashamed that there's so many people here that aren't. Now the recruiting desks are on Twitch. Stunning
yeah.
Brave
One
Itron says, oh, go
day,
ahead.
how many people even can recite the national, um, not the
Thank
national,
you.
but the Pledge of Allegiance anymore? Because do we need that anymore?
No.
Okay, I mean, I just remember having to do it in school, but most of the schools I went to were all on military bases. And then when my dad got out, it was a little tiny small town school, and it just, I don't know, just really sad to know that you can't even have a flag in your yard in a lot of neighborhoods anymore because somebody might think it's offensive to have an American flag hanging in your yard in America. Just little things like that. How we've let ourselves come down to this part in our life. It's like in our country, after all these hundreds and hundred or millions of men and women have died for this country, and we hand all of our rights away to other countries for our soldiers. That Arlington Cemetery is there for a reason. All these military cemeteries that are all over the United States and in other countries with our soldiers in them. Why did they fight and die for our country if we're just going to turn around and hand it over to the WHO? I think about stuff like that and just makes me sick to my stomach. I can't even imagine what we're leaving to all our great grandchildren. What's going to be there? What's going to be here? What's going to be left of America? I mean, it's amazing we've lasted over 200 years, because usually it's after 200 years and you fall. But
We're on schedule. We're on schedule. That's all I can say. That's not a bright thing to say either, but that's the only thing I can say right now. I'm like, we're kind of on schedule.
it's
Janet, I don't want to be depressed, when I in the stream. I want to share something with you because I think you'd probably get it. I think you'd probably enjoy the shit out of it.
I want to see it. What is it?
It is my favorite YouTuber, my favorite TikToker, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Turner coming up. All right.
Oh.
Chad Turner says, my father has a spot guaranteed in Arlington.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't think my I don't know if my dad, I don't know. Yeah, I think he served in the Korean War. I'm trying to remember. Oh, I think I've seen this guy before.
Oh, he's my favorite. Welcome, guys. Another drop from the fat electrician. Here we go. We're talking about the great CB train robbery. And when I say they robbed it, shit. Hold on. There we go. Okay. We're talking about the great CB train robbery. And when I say they robbed a train, I don't mean they boarded it like Jesse James and stole everybody's valuables. I mean they straight up demoed a train, like the whole thing. And if you don't know who the CBs are, I did a whole video on them, but basically it's the Navy's construction battalion. You can think of them as construction workers with machine guns. They're pretty well renowned for their ability to build, fight, drink a lot, and overall just not give a duck. I can't swear for the first 30 seconds or I'll get in trouble. So once upon a time in Korea, September 15th, 1950, the United States Marine Corps, accompanied by the 1st Amphibious CB Battalion, would make an amphibious landing in Incheon. They would immediately begin advancing eastward towards their objective, Seoul. 9 days into this advance, an air reconnaissance mission would report back that there were 8 abandoned train locomotives inside of a depot outside of a small town known as Yongdong-po, in between Incheon and Seoul. Needless to say, Uncle Sam wanted these trains because, as I'm sure you can imagine, if you're trying to move an entire army from an amphibious landing site further inland, a train would be pretty fucking handy. But Uncle Sam had no idea how to actually acquire them. So Uncle Sam would make an appointment with the CBs, because everybody knows the CBs only perform miracles by appointment. If you don't know, the CBs build stuff for a living. If you're good at building stuff, you're good at unbuilding stuff. It's just science. It's because of those talents they are world renowned for their ability to steal shit. I mean, strategically relocate equipment to alternate locations. So 9 CBs volunteer to go yoink these trains. They take off behind enemy lines and make it all the way to the depot completely unnoticed. Sneaky seamen. Shortly after arriving at the depot, they realize that the depot is neighboring a very large brewing facility. Yeah, shit's about to get out of hand. So in a display of flawless military bearing, half the CBs began prepping the locomotives to move, and the other half began tactically acquiring crate upon crate of beer. Fucking teamwork makes the dream work. And by dream, I mean we're gonna get fucking hammered and steal a train. Fucking America. So they finish loading up on beer and take off in the trains undetected. Alright, full stop. I cannot imagine being a bad guy on the same battlefield as the Marine Corps and the CBs at the same time. Like, if something goes bump in the night, it cannot be good. It's either the Marine Corps and they're about to start yeeting the spicy footballs at you, or it's the CBs and they're actively stealing your shit. I mean, how's that old Bible verse go? The Marine Corps yeeteth, and the CBs yoinketh away? At least I think that's how that went. Anyway, so the CBs are making their way back with these trains, and it's going great. Then they come up on a section of track that's been sabotaged, like they've just been cut in half. Now, it's at this point that any rational person is going to ditch the train, grab the beer, and take off on foot. But these aren't rational people. They're CBs. They're fucking nuts. So they straight up just stop the trains in the middle of enemy territory, get out and repair the train tracks before taking off again. And do you understand how psychologically damaging that has to be for the enemy? The CBs came into your territory, repaired your bad guy infrastructure, just so they could steal your shit. That would be like the fire department showing up because your house was on fire, putting the fire out, and then stealing all your shit. Like, you're getting outclassed on a level that's just not even comprehensible. Sir, the CB stole our train and all of our booze. I thought I told you to sabotage the tracks so they couldn't do that. We did, sir. They repaired them and then stole it anyways. Shit. Shortly after they get the trains moving again, they get ambushed by the North Koreans, which basically turns into a giant game of rock, paper, ambush, I have a fucking train, move. The CBs just straight up drive right through it. But they continue to make their way back to the front line, and there was apparently a miscommunication because nobody told the Marine Corps that the CBs would be coming through with locomotives. So naturally, the Marine Corps assumes that the North Koreans are using the trains to launch an attack.
So they also began firing on the CBs. And luckily, the Marines have attention to detail because right as they were about to whip out the bazooka and start blowing up the locomotives, some of the Marines noticed that they were actually CBs on board and not North Koreans and called for a ceasefire. And at that point, a famous interaction happened where a lower enlisted Marine turned to his commanding officer and said, "Imagine that, sir, there was doggies beyond the front line." Doggies referring to Marines because they're devil dogs. To which the commanding officer replied, "Those aren't Marines, it's the damn CBs again." Now, according to the official documents, all the booze was thrown out because they were scared that it may be poisoned. However, according to the CBs, it absolutely was not poisoned because they were drinking it the whole time. And the CBs are where now for their ability to build, fight. Given the opportunity, they will absolutely steal your shit at night. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Best way to support the channel is go buy yourself some merch or join the On Healthcare Club, available at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
He is so funny.
He is my absolute favorite of
What's
all
nice
the.
It's nice to see a man who enjoys the good stuff that's on TikTok, because there's lots of good things on there. And he's funny.
Chimerian says this is a standard you need to always be shooting for. Anything less is not trying. I agree. I agree. I need to pick up things a bit, and I didn't want to be depressed. I know we the last hour was a rant about current year, but
No, I'm sorry.
Listen,
Really
it gets
good.
better. It gets better, guys. It will get better. And Janet,
gotta believe in it. I gotta believe in it.
Yeah, you just have to understand that before things get great, they have to suck so you can appreciate when they're great.
Yeah, for sure.
Really appreciate you being with me again on another Monday night.
You're welcome.
These are fun. I like these.
I've enjoyed it. I look forward to it. I mean, I really do. I've enjoyed it a lot, and I really, really thank you for asking me to do this with you.
Not a problem. Chimerian's like, it gets worse before it gets worse. So, thanks. We're gonna watch a movie for homework for next week. If you guys in the chat want to watch it with us or watch it not with us, so I haven't gotten to the point where I'm doing watch parties. That's what it is. My bad.
Can't we do that on Discord?
Say again?
Can't we do watch parties on Discord?
Either Discord or on Gilded.
Okay.
Or Odyssey.
Yeah, we need to try to do that.
One of these days very soon.
Good. That'd be fun.
Shadzar's like, it's a war movie. You often have politics involved in some way. I have over 50 years of suck, so no clue of what great things could be. I have no idea what great could be because I've had 50 years of suck. And then he says the light at the end of the tunnel is a CB's coming down to the damn train.
Full of beer.
Full of beer. Well, not really full anymore. It's in the CB's now. But
oh, well, they enjoyed the ride.
Yeah, they did.
That was hilarious.
We're gonna see this movie called The Sorcerer for next week. It's a 1977 film with Roy Schneider, and it's a different film made by the same, I want to say Friedkin, the same guy that did the movie France, Gene Hackman, The French Connection.
I like Gene Hackman too.
I love it. He's not in this movie, but it's the same director that directed Gene Hackman with Roy Schneider. So we'll be watching that and give our dissertation on this because this is a classic movie that not many people know about, and it really does deserve to be watched, enjoyed, viewed. I think it's a fantastic film.
Yeah, it's a movie I haven't seen, so it's another new movie for me, which is always fun, getting to watch a movie I've never seen before. So I appreciate that. Thank you for having me, and thank you to the chat for showing up and spending some time with us. I really enjoyed it. It's fun. I'm getting better at actually getting to read some of it and respond. Yes, I can learn. But I had a great time. Thank you so much.
Hey, it's Karen G-Rock pops in.
and we're gonna leave and go to watch Yelling at Parked Cars.
Yeah. Let me put the link in chat, and after I do that, I will leave and hope that the rest of you have a great night.
We will. Thank you. Thank you for coming, guys. And ladies, if there was any ladies, I hate to say that I didn't know, because I really couldn't pay that much attention to all the names of people. I did the best I could, but I'm getting soy-based Jeremy.
Hey, soy-based Jeremy, everyone. I've got the link in chat for those of you that are interested in Yelling at Parked Cars with Comics Division and his crew of people. I'm going to go over there and be part of their chat, not their panel. And I look forward to seeing the rest of you throughout the week. Look for Janet on her TikTok or on her YouTube or her Instagram. Chad was a gentleman, and he put those links in the chat. I will put them in the description of this video, and look forward to seeing all of you throughout the week. I thank you so much for being part of tonight's stream.
Thank you. Night.
Night.